Hello, I'm Casey Aiken, and this is 21 This Week. Coming up next, budget pressures increase, so what will Martin, Larry, and Ike do next? Why are 9,000 Montgomery County students in portable classrooms? The Rockville City Council goes rogue with a zoning switcheroo. Stay tuned. Our panel of insiders will give you the story behind the story. We're joined by the consigliere of the Montgomery County Democratic Party, Sam Statland. Former chairman of the Montgomery County Republican Central Committee, Mark Uncapher, Republican activist Jerry Cave, and political thorn in the side, Susan Heltemes. Stay tuned for these stories and more on the next 21 This Week. Outgoing Democrat Governor Martin O'Malley announced $400 million of budget cuts as he prepares to exit the stage and turn the reins of the Maryland state government over to Governor-elect Republican Larry Hogan later this month. For his part, the governor-elect has tried to avoid making policy decisions until after he takes office on January 21st, but has indicated that his first priority is to cut spending and suggesting that two projects in Montgomery County, the Purple Line and the Bus Rapid Transit project, may be at risk. Mark, is the governor-elect abandoning his promise to cut taxes?
Not at all. In fact, I think by 2018 we'll see at the very least the end of the rain tax. This budget situation has been probably the worst kept secret in Maryland. We've known the revenues have been down for the past year, and we're having to address it now.
Sam, what advice would you give the governor-elect? Should he cut, or should he raise taxes?
I think the first thing the governor should do is to hold his powder until he sees what's presented next 2 weeks to the General Assembly. Then I think what he should do is stick to his guns, because obviously he was elected because he has the feel of the voters in Maryland who elected him. Now, he's already said that he may not be able to cut taxes this year. And we're facing a structural deficit of $1.5 billion that has been going on since the Thornton was passed unfunded. So I think we really have to look at all the departments within state government and figure out where we can get more efficient. I hate to say this, but appointing a commission to do so usually turns out to be a waste of time. Maybe he needs to have a titled the Axeman, and the Axeman can take a look at the biggest departments where the most money is and go in there and start chopping away so that in the end he can keep his promise.
Thank you, Sam. Susan, the budget crisis at the state is also going to come down to the budget crisis in Montgomery County, and the county executive has been holding a series of budget forums to condition Montgomery County residents about the uncertain budget for the county for this year. But he's indicated that he may be backtracking from a campaign promise to build more affordable housing. Why is he changing priorities?
Well, first of all, I want to let everyone know that County Executive Leggett holds these forums every single year. In good times and in bad times, he has them across the county and gets input, which he actually uses when he puts out his budget in March. And yeah, there are some changes. One of the things that he said, he'd like to spend more money on affordable housing, but there may be a cut there and there may be cuts elsewhere. What he's trying to do is figure the most humane way to make cuts, and I don't think all the money for affordable housing will be gone, but there's going to be some hurt in the county when he gets finished.
Okay. The Public Works Commission, O'Malley, Francho, and Kopp met this week, and they cut several $100 million. And one of the big areas that they cut was in the Health and Human Services budget. That comes directly back to Montgomery County, and affects senior services as well as homeless services. So Ike is in a tough position. At least he has the courage to go out and tell people what's going on, take their advice, and try to do something about it. We have just an outrageous problem with people that are waiting for affordable housing in this county. We've got so many people sleeping on the streets, especially in this cold environment, that it's despicable.
Well, I'm going to open it up to general comments in just a second, but I want to go back to Jerry for a second. Jerry, Hogan has also pledged to grow the Maryland economy. Is it possible for him to grow Maryland economy out of this problem?
Yeah, he needs to cut spending, cut taxes, because that's what's causing the problem. Maryland has been really foolish. They put all their eggs in the government basket, thinking that all we can do is live off government largesse and the ancillary things that come off of it. And here's what we've got.
So you agree with Sam on this?
And I am proud to do so. Brother Sam,
Thank you.
I agree with you.
I
Maybe a problem for Sam.
I want to go to Mark. Mark,
Yeah, sure.
Regarding affordable housing, we need approximately 1,500 to 2,500 units per year to meet the demand. How is that possible that we're going to be able to do that?
Well, and one of the things we need to kind of keep in mind is how much more expensive housing is in Montgomery County than it is elsewhere in the country. We really have priced with regulation, with our zoning restrictions, we have priced a lot of affordable housing housing that is affordable except for people who are already sort of have houses and moving up out of the marketplace. So we're kind of on a vicious circle in terms of being able to respond to that need because it's so little is available.
Well, I think the budget crisis is, as Sam has pointed out, is truly something that Montgomery County residents really have to take notice of because it affects some severe services.
I just hope that the governor remembers, as very few governors in the past have from both sides of the party, that we are an economic centerpiece, a generator of income to the state, as should be the city of Baltimore. And I don't want to see him make cuts that can cut back on jobs, that can cut back on education, that can cut back on ease of transportation, and economic things like the Purple Line, for example, that really would benefit not only Montgomery, but Prince George's County.
Well, what
you
the governor...
You guys are looking at the small picture of Montgomery County. We have a terrible image of driving businesses out, high-income earners, and we have got to get rid of that, and the people in the state know it. That's why they elected Hogan, Republicans, Democrats, and independents. We need to get rid of that.
Jerry, I just want to add, the governor has said
Susan.
that he's going to spend all of this money to attract businesses. Now, if you're going to give...
And that's where your tax revenue comes from.
Well, but,
Wait a minute.
but where is that money going to be cut?
I want to ask a question, and this deals with what Sam said. Obviously, we need capital improvement projects. We need transportation projects. But would it be wise to development of the Purple Line until the budget situation has been brought under control?
Well, the governor has already said that he wants to spend any transportation money there is on roads and bridges, not on public transportation.
But that's where your immediate buck is better utilized, Mark.
But I would argue that the Purple Line is very misguided public transportation money. It is not as effective as money spent elsewhere in transportation or even on the Red Line. It adds so few extra riders to the system that it really can't be justified the $2.4 billion.
And you know, I think everybody...
Montgomery and Prince George's County, people involved in budget and growth and planning, both counties have agreed that the Purple Line will generate more jobs because...
And ridership.
Well, not forget the ridership part.
But
the ridership, look at our metro sites. In all of the metro sites that we have, with the exception of Wheaton, we've gotten growth. And along the Purple Line, you will have growth in Montgomery and Prince George's County, which means if we have growth, we'll have more businesses going in. Tantera is a good example of that. It will help there. And because we have more businesses going in, we'll have more jobs. And if we have more jobs, we have people earning money. They buy from other merchants. They pay taxes. That's basic economics.
Jerry.
I got a much cheaper solution. Just cut the toll on the ICC and you'll take care of a lot more of the traffic problem than the Purple Line. Mark's completely correct. The Purple Line is a lousy bang for the buck, and there's the rest of the state that needs to have some economic impetus too. But this whole structure we've created has to be addressed with being taxed too high and chasing people out of the state.
And I think that those of us on the other side would question the merit of throwing money frivolously at companies saying, come here.
I'm not saying giving special tax breaks to people. I'm saying lower it overall. We've had 8 years of your side doing complete control. And what do we got? We got tremendous budget deficits. We got people leaving the state. Half the people would like to leave the state.
The deficits aren't as great, though, as when Governor O'Malley came in. So
well,
let's
with
just leave
Susan,
it there.
we're gonna let you make that pithy comment, and we're going to go on to our next break. When we come back from our break, why are so many Montgomery County students in portable classrooms? And did the Rockville City Council send a message to business, don't invest here because we can't be trusted? Stay tuned. We'll give you these. And welcome back. It's safe to say that local development in Montgomery County and the independent municipalities has evolved into a sophisticated process of master planning, zoning, and the permitting. The process is deliberately elaborate, and it seeks to balance the citizens' concerns and the needs of developers for certainty in the development process because they're risking millions of dollars in constructing new buildings. In addition, lest you think that developers are not risking their own money, let me assure you that if a developer comes online with a project that consumers reject, they will lose money. Their lenders will lose money. Their investors will lose money. Does anybody out there remember the white elephant called the Rockville Mall? Well, apparently, Councilwoman Burl Feinberg and her colleague, Mayor Bridget Donald Newton, and Councilwoman Virginia Olney have forgotten, or maybe they just don't care. Because since 1956 and reaffirmed in 2008 when the city reissued its zoning regulations, self-storage warehousing has been a permitted use in the city of Rockville's light industrial zone. But in a move that was right out of the back alley, that was not supported by the city's professional planning staff or recommended by the city's independent planning commission, the mayor and council voted 3-2 Monday night to direct staff to bring the issue back on this next Monday for introduction for a vote, scheduled at a later date. This contentious action questions the motive of Feinberg to engage in spot zoning changes to favor political allies, and it also places the risk of development of an abandoned industrial building known as the Wonder Bread building that was so bad it was sold at bankruptcy 2 years ago. Sam, the area that the building is in is industrial. Taft Street is known as an industrial strip. The owners of the property purchased it out of bankruptcy. They want to put it back to use. So why would the city leaders want to see this property remain vacant?
Stupidity. Stupidity. Here you have a piece of property that's properly zoned, and you got a group of guys that say, hey, you know, we'll take this business and we'll buy it. It's defunct. We'll take it out of bankruptcy. We're going to spend a lot of money with drawings and plans, and we're going to go to all of the agencies and get it approved, which they did a year ago. And then all of a sudden, the rug gets pulled out from under them. I don't get it. And it's another example of why Montgomery County is thought to be unfriendly to business. Another example, or a worst example, is my wife's favorite eating place. It was the Anchor Inn. And these guys wanted to expand their restaurant. I believe they put almost $250,000 in it. And they did that because they were told that a total smoking ban would not take place, that they could put in a duct system, etc., to accommodate different customers. And what happens? They spent the money, business went down the tubes, out of business. And what do we have now? We have a strip shopping center.
Thank you, Sam. Susan, what makes this case curious, and Sam just pointed it out, is that the City Council of Rockville approved the initial easy storage development plan just last February. So why are we arguing about a technical zoning amendment that shouldn't have even been brought up in the first place?
Well, first, I want to defend the honor of Burl Feinberg, who I know and like very much. When you said a payback to her political allies, I don't think that there is any reason to believe that. And I don't think
she voted in favor of just last February.
I know, but I inferred from what you said that this was some sort of payback, and I don't think that is Burl. I don't live in Rockville, so I'm not as knowledgeable as perhaps as people in Rockville, but it's my understanding is that it was close to a school, and there is concern that such a facility should not be near a school. And I do have concerns about what kind of facilities are next to schools, and this may not be the best. So on that note, I'm going to defer to the rest of the panel.
Okay, Susan. Jerry, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, you haven't given me much time in the show so far. And
right.
normally that really bothers me. But since most of it has gone to Sam and he's making so much sense, I'm in favor of it so far. But don't get used to it.
Thank you,
So
Jerry.
don't you think
so
that
here's
before
the,
they approve the plan in February, that zoning consideration, the closest to the school, would have been taken into consideration? If it wasn't, it certainly should have been. So you got a bunch of guys that invest a lot of money, and now the rug's been pulled out. I think that's terrible.
This goes back to stage one. Montgomery County doesn't have anybody elected out of the business community, and this is the kind of stupidity.
This is a city.
You know what? But it's the whole atmosphere here. It's like you step on a snake and you go, "It bit me." You got anti-business people in Montgomery County, and they want to know what the problem is. This is a perfect example.
Look, city
And it
government.
gives Casey a reason to cut me off.
Thank you. I believe in municipal government. I think municipal governments should be allowed to run their own zoning. The problem here is that if you're going to change the rules, you ought to be able to grandfather in those people who thought what the rules were when they made their investment. This city council voted not to allow a grandfather clause provision. That's why it smacks like it's insider trading and a favoritism to some political patronage. All right, we're going to go on to our third topic. The Washington reports that 9,000 Montgomery County public school students are being housed in temporary or portable classrooms. This past October, Montgomery County Public School Superintendent Joshua Starr proposed $220 million in additional construction funding. But with the state budget crisis, this prospect seems unlikely. Jerry, the use of portable classrooms has been ongoing for decades, so why is it an issue this year?
Because it's been an issue for many years. And the Washington Post, as obvious, has leapt onto the obvious. This isn't the first time this issue came up. And then what's more important is this is what the people of Montgomery County have voted for. I ran on this issue 4 years ago. I published 20,000 magazines that outlined this in picture form for those who can't read or won't read, and charts and graphs, and they elected the Democrats who don't ask for money from the state. Now wait a minute. We send $3 billion to Annapolis. They never ask for enough money. We don't get it, and our kids are stuck in portable classrooms. And what's worse, you got stupid people doing it. When they redid Whitaker School, they didn't take into consideration the families moving across Western Avenue. They didn't build enough classroom space. They got 9 trailers behind the school. That's not what people are paying the taxes for in this county. It's justifiable in Plaquemines, Louisiana, where they got no money, but it's inexcusable, and the people in the state and the county haven't held their elected officials accountable for it, and the elected officials have been cowardly to not stand up to Mike Miller and get the money.
And the first place the governor ought to send by Axeman is to the State Board of Education, because it all filters right down. And as far as I'm concerned, the Montgomery County Board of Education, based on its past performance, should be done away with. We need a charter amendment.
Well, there's some strong opinions tonight. Susan, I didn't see this coming, but MCPS enrollment saw an unexpected increase in enrollment this year. Is this what accounts for the surge in the use of portable classrooms?
Our enrollment goes up every year. It's for a lot of reasons. People like living here. People are sending their kids less often to private schools. They're dropping out each year. And we have an immigrant population. But we have the largest delegation in Annapolis. And one of the things that I really liked about Governor Brown, he said, was this was the year that Montgomery County was going to get their education money. We have helped every other system. We have an increase in student population every year that's larger than some whole systems. Yet it's very hard for those rural areas to say Montgomery County needs $200 million or whatever it is for schools. And this is one of those things that I hope that Governor-elect Hogan will be able to do, is to work with those Republican leaders in areas of the state and try to enlighten them that Montgomery County does deserve money for school construction.
So the problem in this legislature that hasn't had a Republican majority for, what, a century, is the Republicans in the legislature.
no, what I'm
not,
You know what else?
not
No,
the Montgomery
what
County
I- no,
delegation.
It's the
They-
Montgomery
what-
County delegation. And let me tell you something else, Susan. Next door in Fairfax County, they educated another 30 or 40,000 kids on the same kind of budget, and the people over there are not choosing to put their kids into private school. Many, tens of thousands of kids in Montgomery County, many more than Fairfax, are going to private schools because of issues like this. They don't want their kids in trailers.
The issue is trailers, and let's be fair. They're using portable trailers in Fairfax County as well.
And they're all over
So,
the place
I mean,
over
just-
there
just-
too.
When you look at
It is
when
not-
you look
it
at
is
the
a
numbers
plan-
like
it's
I
a
looked
plan-
at them,
it is
and
a
you look at
planning issue, Jerry.
it's more than a planning
It is
issue. It's a
planning
money issue.
If you look at the schools where the portables.
No, Casey, what
where
you
the
need to do
portables-
is you need to
where
look at the
portable-
state budget and see how much money we send to Annapolis and how little of it comes back, and most of the money is for schools. We're not getting our fair share.
if you look-
and the most
Jerry.
important thing is our people don't fight for it.
Jerry,
Name one county elected official who's fought for our school system.
Ike Leggett has for
look
years.
if you look at the schools where the
silence
portables
is
are
deafening
the
from those
largest, it's in the Up County area where growth
Woodacres
is
isn't
occurring.
Up
No, it's
County.
not.
It's got
It's also
9
down
portable
county.
There are
trailers
some
in the
down-
back
there
of
are some-
Woodacres.
There are some down county,
Look.
and you're going to have these swings in population as neighborhoods turn over.
Councilman Councilman Elrich at a hearing last year said to the school board administration, "Can't you guys come up with a decent forecast? Is this magic?"
And you
I
know
mean,
what,
you
Sam?
know what you have. Your
It's
increasing
incompetence and
population.
cowardice.
That's
guys,
the
they're
last word.
incompetence.
It's not magic. Stay tuned for parting shots. And welcome back. Now with parting shots, I'm going to lead off with the terrible events that happened in France this week. All I can say is, je suis Charlie. Mark, your parting shot.
This budget that we're facing coming up in the next couple of weeks is an opportunity for us to take a look at our priorities. And one of the priorities that we ought to be taking examination is this purple line. By 2040, it will $2.5 billion, if that's what it ends up being, it's projected now, would only add an additional 11,000 riders, less than 1%. Instead, Montgomery County ought to be putting more emphasis on addressing its education issues and portables and drop this push for the purple line.
Thank you, Mark. Sam, your parting shot.
My parting shot is, Mark, it's not the ridership, it's the number of businesses that will grow along the purple line, just as it has along the metro system. So I'm for the governor, keep the purple line in place, and let's start the economy rolling again in Montgomery County.
Thank you, Sam. Susan, your parting shot.
Two things. First, congratulations to former State Senator Rona Kramer, who has been nominated by Governor-elect Larry Hogan to be the Secretary of Aging. I know she's going to do a great job. And secondly, I lost one of my heroes, and the Democratic Party lost a stalwart Democrat when former Governor Mario Cuomo died. He was the one who fought Reagan. We weren't just a city on a hill. We were two cities. Those two cities are becoming more apparent with each passing day. And I urge Governor-elect Hogan to remember that we are two Marylanders. And on that, Happy New Year all.
Thank you, Susan. Jerry Cave, your parting shot.
The most important thing about Larry Hogan's election to change Maryland is that every citizen, every newspaper has got to hold the Democratic majority in Annapolis accountable, because they caused the problem and they have to participate in the solution. They can't just be a roadblock trying to make Hogan's administration unsuccessful so they can reclaim the governorship. They've got to participate in the problem, and Larry Hogan should hold them accountable in every speech.
Well, thank you, panel. We've had an interesting discussion tonight about several topics, and none obviously strikes more passion than the education issues that we always face each and every year. So we are going to focus on education this year. We're also considering doing a panel on racial issues in Montgomery County later in February. A town hall meeting format is being planned. We'll give you more details as those things progress. And panel, I want to thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in to the first episode of 2015. Check us out on our social media sites to keep up with all the latest political stories within Montgomery County. For 21 This Week, I'm Casey Aiken.